Hi, this is Shankar from Ekascloud. In this video, I will explain about the IAM roles in AWS. So IAM roles are nothing but it is used to define permission for making AWS service request. For example, let us say we have a IAM user in our account and we want to give a temporary credential to that account to access some AWS resources. For example, let us say I have a IAM user who have full access to EC2, but I have to give a temporary credential so that he can access S3 also. In this situation, I will give something like I will assume a role for that user so that he can have the S3 bucket access only for the particular period of time. So this is where we will use IAM roles. So as I said before, it will allow users or service to temporarily assume a role. We can assume a role to the IAM user or to the service. We can give like we are going to give like EC2 accessing S3. So with the help of EC2 CLI, we will access the S3 bucket in our AWS account. So this will give temporarily assume to a role and gain access to AWS resource based on the permission granted. So based on the permission we are giving, it will assume a role for that user or the service we are selecting. As I said before, this will provide only the temporary credential. Now in our AWS account, we are going to create a role which will give permission to EC2 to access S3. So this is what we are going to do in this video. So I will go to my AWS console. I will select IAM. In IAM, we have something called roles. I will select roles and I will create a role. So as I said before, we can create AWS, we can give AWS account or any service or any users so that we can access uh, any AWS resource from our account. So I will give EC2 for now. So we want EC2 to access our S3 buckets. I will select EC2 interested entities and I will give next. Here we have to select the permission policy which we are going to give to the IAM role. So we want EC2 to access S3, right? So for here I will give S3 and I will give full access so that I can list the buckets. I can copy the object to the bucket. We can do anything that we can do. Give if we want to give only the read-only access to only view the bucket, we can give read-only. But for now, for our lab, I will give S3 full access. I will give next. Here we have to define a role EC2 S3. So this is the role name I have given, and here you can see EC2 service is accessing S3 full access. So with the help of EC2 in our account, we can access the S3 services. So I will create a role. So now I have created a role. As I said before, this is a temporary credential, and here you can see maximum session duration is 1 hour. We can edit till 12 hours as it is a temporary credential. So let this keep it for 1 hour. Now I have go to my EC2 and launch a Linux instance so that we can see whether we can access S3 using the EC2 instance. I'll give Linux server. I select my key pair and I will give launch instance. I'm launching the instance now. So after launching instance, we have to assign a role. So the role we have created like EC2 S3. The EC2 have to access the S3 and we have created a role, but we have to assign a role so that it can be used here. So in Linux, if we select Linux server, which I have created now, here you can see there is no IAM role assigned. So for this, we have to go to our actions. In actions, we have to go to security and modify IAM role. So no IAM role is selected. So I will select the EC2 S3 IAM role which I have created before. So I will give update IAM role. So once we have updated the IAM role, we can access this EC2 instance and we can, with help of this EC2 instance, we can access our S3 bucket. So I will give connect. I will connect my Linux instance using instance connect. Here I will check whether the role assigned is working or not. I will give AWS S3. So this is the AWS CLI command. I will list the objects in my S3. I will give ls. Here you can see these are the buckets in my AWS account. So these are two buckets listed. So now I will try to copy a object to the this bucket Shyam test 001. So I'll try to copy. So for that we have to create a file. So I'll give nano sample.txt. So I am creating a file called sample.txt with the help of nano command. I will give enter. I will give some this is a sample text file. Now I will give control O, enter, and control X. So if I list, I will give, if I give ls, here you can see the sample.txt file is created. Now I'm going to copy this sample.txt file to my AWS bucket. What we are going to do is AWS S3 copy. For copy, you will give cp and we have to give the file name sample.txt and you have to give the bucket name where we want to copy this sample.txt file. I will give s3 colon // Shyam test 001. So I want to upload this or I want to copy this sample.txt file to this bucket name Shyam test 001. Now I'll give enter. As you can see, upload. So this sample.txt file is uploaded. So as we have assumed a role for this EC2 instance, we are able to copy the file. We can list the file in the S3 service. So if I go to my S3, you can see the text sample.txt file will be copied. So I will go into my bucket. So this is the bucket where I uploaded, and here you can see this is the file which I have uploaded now with the help of EC2. So as I have assigned roles, the EC2 can able to access my S3 and can copy the text file also. So this is how we have to create IAM role, and we have to assume the IAM role to the service or the user. We can assume this IAM role to the users also. So with the help of this, we can access the AWS resources with the help of IAM role. Thank you.